and they were like, and it just gone from this huge standing ovation to now it's just us like but I'm looking down below and where all the actors and directors, nobody's booing me amongst the nominees, or it's all coming from the balcony where the sponsors are sitting and the agents and all the money people, and they were just so angry, and they struck up the band on me, and they're lowering the microphone. My 45 seconds isn't up, and I just blurted out to Bush, anytime you've got the Pope and the Dixie Chicks against you, you're in trouble. So, and I walked off. I was shaking when I walked off the stage, and I walk off, and actually when you all win your Oscar, this is the first thing that happens to you. You walk off, and in the wings, the very first people that meet you are two interns who are nicely dressed in evening wear, a girl and a boy, and the girl goes, champagne, and she's got a little flute of champagne, and the boy goes, breath mint. I swear to God, because you're going backstage to do these interviews now, to a press conference, but I got a third person that the usual Oscar winner doesn't get, and it was a stagehand who came right up in my ear, and I thought he was going to knock me out, and he comes right up in my ear, and he goes, and champagne, breath mint, and so at that point security comes and takes me away, and
to jail?
Huh?
To jail?
No, literally to remove me from, because they saw, they were actually sitting on backstage because U2 was going to sing a song, and Bono and those guys saw that these guys were coming at me, and so then they came over as if to stand, like, don't mess with him or you'll have to mess with, we're all Irish, so. You have to develop a sense of humor when you're Irish, or otherwise the darkness sets in. So I got out, and I did not want to go to any of the parties. In fact, I remember we walked into the governor's ball that's attached to the Oscars. My wife and we had our parents with us, and I felt so bad for them, and people were just giving me the dirtiest looks. I remember John Voight and Matthew McConaughey wanting to come at me. I remember walking in, and it's like people just walked away from me like I was the plague in there. And you have to remember, this is the fifth day of the war. And in our memory, we've sort of forgotten what that was like. For those of you in your own communities, at work, at school, when you were against the war, especially once it started, you were in a very small minority. I remember Keith Olbermann attacking me on his show. That's right. Since apologized. I remember Al Franken.
How were you attacked? Why did he attack you? What did he say?
Because he was in favor of the war. I remember Al Franken attacking me because he was for the war. That's right. I remember David Remnick, the editor of The New Yorker, writing that editorial in The New Yorker supporting the war. To see The New York Times and The New Yorker help give Bush the cover he needed and lead us to war, it was more of a criminal act than Bush himself, because they enabled it and allowed it to reach a wider, more mainstream audience. So the Bob and Harvey Weinstein, who were the studio that put the film out, they were for the war. My agent, the infamous Ari, was for the war. I mean, I was alone in this, and
Wait, you have to explain Ari who?
Ari Emanuel. Oh yes, that's right. Ari Emanuel, his brother, has a night job at the White House.
Called Rahm Emanuel.
Yes, Rahm Emanuel is his brother. So, geez, well, that's another show. But just to finish the story, so I walk into the governor's ball, everybody parts away from me. With the
well, why didn't you take the breath mint? That was the reason.
I think that was it. I think you should do more comedy. And Sherry Lansing, who ran Paramount at the time, one of the first and few women to run a studio in Hollywood. And her husband is William Friedkin, the director who made The Exorcist. And they saw that, and us just standing there. And she came out of the crowd and walked into this big middle zone where nobody would get near me. And in front of everybody, as everybody's just giving me the stink eye, came right up and put a big kiss on my cheek. And it was, I'll never forget that, because I've told her since, I said that was a really kind of a brave thing to do. And she says, I'm just tired of dealing with all these in this town. So that, you know, you did the right thing. And I apologized to Diane Lane. I said, because she had to stand there during the whole booing, that, you know, I had to put you through this. And she said, are you kidding? I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. You let me be part of this historical moment.
Michael Moore. If you'd like a copy of today's show, you can go to our website at democracynow.org.